Although crypto has been performing absolutely amazing over the last few weeks, you guys know I will never hesitate to give you warnings and let you know when things don't look quite right to me. And so in today's video, I want to talk about the reason why Polygon Matic's price might be in a pretty risky situation right here, in which we could see a possible fall of 30 to maybe even 40% to the downside. So with that said, I don't want to take any more of your time, so let's get straight into today's video. Now looking at Matic here, we can see that it is still within the same range that we have been in since August of last year. Of course, just like the rest of the crypto market, Matic was getting absolutely destroyed, got pushed all the way back down to the sub 30 levels, but it was capable of recapturing a lot of this momentum when it did get some news that it was partnering with Disney, and then Instagram, and then Meta, and then all of these other massive companies that were going to be going into work and with partnership with Polygon. Now, because of that, we did start to see some growth, as I mentioned before, but that growth, of course, had to slow down. The rest of the market wasn't moving in that way. Money is kind of tight right now for the whole entire economy. And so because of that, obviously, we did start to go into a bit of a range here. We did start to see some momentum picking back up, but of course, with the FTX crash, that did cancel that momentum and just continued this sideways trading for another few months. Now, generally speaking, sideways trading isn't something I'm quite worried about. We of course got a nice little pump of 200+%, and now we're going sideways to allow that to cool down. That is totally okay. But it's the fact that the way that this is starting to form and the structure that this is starting to form is starting to seem increasingly more and more bearish. Let me explain. So first and foremost, we always start off with structure. Structurally, what is this doing? Well, structurally, I'm picking up on a head and shoulders pattern that is quite large. As you can see here, we have come down to put in a left shoulder. We, of course, went in to put in the head. The FTX news did force us back to the downside. And then from that, we did establish support in a similar range as we did prior and are looking to, work our way back up towards these levels in which we had previously run into resistance back here. If we are not capable of recapturing these levels and getting back above, say, $1.10, Matic is then at risk of seeing another push down to the downside here, in which we will have a complete head and shoulders pattern on the weekly time frames sitting directly in front of us. Now, let's look at this from an even more zoomed out perspective. You guys know I always pull up the Fibonacci's to see if there's any correlation there, and as you can see, there is a strong correlation. The moment that we put in this head, it was directly at that 618 level, in which is around $1.25, which is the level in which you are the most likely to get rejected, especially on the long terms from. As we can see here, we came in, we put in our left shoulders, we rebounded, found a higher low, and went up. And as we did find this next higher high, it was within the 618 to 786 bucks, which, as I mentioned before, is the point in which you are the most likely to get a push off of back towards the downside. So whenever you mix in the fact that we are getting rejected off the macro Fibonacci, we're forming a head and shoulders pattern here, especially if we do get rejected, that does start to say, hey, maybe some type of big pullback is on the way. The next thing we can look at is the Bollinger Bands, especially on the weekly charts, and you can start to see that our 20 simple moving average is slowly losing some of its momentum. The 20 SMA has held up quite well between the months of like October and August/July. Every time we would come down below it, we would wick and wick and wick, but we never really got those closes below that 20 SMA, as we did hold some support and then continue to the top side. But something started to change right after that FTX crash, and what you can see is that right after that FTX crash, we did see the 20 SMA lost on the weekly close. Now, right after that, we immediately recaptured it and we did quite well, but we eventually lost it again, in which we got multiple weekly closes below it the next time. And although we have recaptured it here, if we are in an opportunity in which we can lose that 20 SMA, it wouldn't surprise me at all if we get an even further extension down into towards the bottom side of this Bollinger Band envelope, because as you can see, that 20 SMA is losing momentum. 2 closes below it here, about 4 closes below it here. And so the next one, who knows, maybe we get a good 5, 6, 7 closes below it as we come try the bottom side of this Bollinger Band envelope. And so because of that, it also starts to put out some warnings to me like, hey, we need to start to see some momentum like now. We need to get back above $1.10, $1.15 relatively soon, because if not, we are definitely in a situation where the stronger correction to the bottom side could be on the way. And to finish everything off on the daily charts here, we can also see in the shorter time frames that some type of possible M top is forming right around the $1.04 to to $1.05 level. You can see here that we've put in a pretty strong establishment of resistance here, in which we put in these equivalent highs. On the RSI, we are starting to see minor signs of bearish divergence that is not confirmed just yet, but it is somewhat forming. And so what I'm looking at right now is that if this is going to be a right shoulder, this is a right shoulder with an M top at the top, which definitely could push us back down in this example back towards 80 cents, which would then start to put us at a larger threat of this larger head and shoulders playing out. Everything is pointing to say that this is a major risk right now. And if you are ignoring it simply because the market looks bullish, you could be putting yourself in a situation in which a hard crash is going to catch you off guard. Again, I'm not going to say that this is for sure going to happen. Best case scenario is that we see this thing break $1.10 and we get out of this whole scary ass thing that is going on right now. But if that's not the case, and if we start to roll to the downside and we lose 91 cents, we are in a position in which a crash towards 75 cents becomes much more possible. And if we lose 75 cents, a crash all the way back down towards 50 cents, which is a 50% fall from where we are right now, becomes even more likely. And so that's the reason I wanted to warn you about this. I need you all to be paying very close attention. It's not a bad idea to take some profits. It's not a bad idea to slow down some accumulation right now while we are trying to figure out what we're going to do in this range. Because while we are below $1.10, we are at major risk of some type of 40 to 50% correction happening towards the downside. So with that said, just pay close attention to it and make sure that if we start to get this pullback, you are watching very closely 91 cents, and then next you are watching 75 cents. Those are the two levels that if are lost, we will be in a position to see a strong continuation towards the downside. Now, if you want to stay fully caught up with the move that is happening with Polygon Matic, make sure you do check out my free newsletter down below. I post technical analysis, market analysis, general thoughts. I send it out every single Monday and every single Friday, and it is completely free for you to subscribe. So make sure you don't miss out on that. But if you did enjoy today's video and you would like to see another one, do like this one so more people can see it, but also subscribe to the channel so you never miss another video. But with that said, that's going to be about it. I hope you guys have a fantastic week, and I will see you all next time. Peace.